What if I told you that two people could follow the exact same workout, eat the same meals, sleep the same number of hours, and after 6 months, one of them walks away with arms 30% bigger, while the other actually loses muscle? Sounds unbelievable, but science has shown it to be true. Back in 2016, a team of researchers took nearly 300 participants and put them through the exact same full-body program, twice a week for half a year. They tracked every change with MRIs, DEXA scans, and ultrasounds. The results shocked everyone. Some individuals grew at an explosive rate, others saw modest gains, and a handful didn't grow at all, despite never missing a session. So, why does this happen? Why do some bodies explode with muscle while others seem locked in place? The answer begins with genetics, specifically with a protein called myostatin. Myostatin's job is to stop muscle from growing beyond a certain point. From an evolutionary perspective, this made perfect sense. Muscle is metabolically expensive. Our ancestors didn't know when their next meal would come, so carrying around extra muscle could actually be dangerous. Myostatin acted like nature's brake pedal. But what happens when that brake pedal is missing? Enter the Belgian blue cattle. Born without myostatin, these animals are shockingly muscular, like bodybuilders on 4 legs. The same has been observed in dogs and even laboratory mice. And in 2004, the first human baby with a mutation in the myostatin gene was documented in Germany. Muscular from birth, and by age 4, able to lift small dumbbells with ease. These extreme cases prove a point. Genetics can supercharge muscle growth. But here's the reality check. Such mutations are vanishingly rare, maybe 4 cases per million. For the rest of us, genetics don't act like an on-off switch. Instead, they shape 3 things: how fast your muscles grow, which muscles grow the fastest, and where your natural limit sits. And here's the good news. While you can't change your DNA, you can absolutely change how much of your potential you unlock. So let's talk about the strategies that science actually supports. The first is training volume. Study after study confirms that the number of hard sets you perform each week per muscle group is one of the strongest drivers of hypertrophy. If you're doing fewer than 12 sets, increasing that by just 20 to 30% can make a dramatic difference. People often underestimate how much work their body can handle. When volume goes up intelligently, results accelerate. But here's the catch. More is not always better. Beyond 20 sets per week, most lifters see diminishing returns, and recovery becomes the bottleneck.
The second strategy is specialization. Everyone has weak points. Maybe your arms lag behind, maybe it's your shoulders, maybe your glutes. Studies show that by redirecting training volume toward these lagging areas, while keeping stronger muscles at maintenance, you can create transformations that look almost genetic. A narrow frame suddenly looks broader. A flat lower body suddenly looks fuller. You haven't changed your bone structure. You've changed perception. The third strategy is understanding your natural ceiling. This is where the Fat-Free Mass Index, or FFMI, comes in. It's the gold standard for comparing muscularity relative to height and body fat. The average untrained person sits around 18 to 19. With consistent training, most people cap out near 22 or 23. Exceptional naturals reach 24 or 25. And when you see numbers much higher than that, like 28 to 30, you're almost certainly looking at enhanced athletes. So yes, there is a genetic ceiling. But here's the twist. You don't need to be at the ceiling to look outstanding. Bruce Lee, for example, wasn't anywhere near the top percentile of muscle mass. Neither was Brad Pitt in Fight Club. Their FFMI was only around 20 to 21. Yet their lean, defined physiques became cultural icons. Why? Because leanness changes everything. And that brings us to perhaps the most overlooked factor: lifestyle habits. Recent research has shown that many of the differences in muscle growth can't actually be explained by genetics alone. Sleep, diet, and effort in the gym make a massive difference. In fact, some low responders in scientific studies turned out not to be low responders at all. They were undereating protein, sleeping poorly, or not pushing close enough to muscular failure. When those variables were corrected, their growth skyrocketed. So let's pause here. If you think your genetics are holding you back, ask yourself honestly, are you sleeping 7 to 9 hours per night? Are you eating enough protein every single day? Are you training hard enough that your last rep feels like your limit? Because if the answer is no, then your genetics aren't the problem. You are. But let's say you've dialed in those basics. What then? How do you squeeze every drop of progress out of the cards you were dealt? Here's a proven roadmap. Start by setting your baseline volume. If you're doing fewer than 12 sets per week for a muscle, add 2 to 3 sets and track your progress. Identify 1 or 2 lagging muscle groups. Specialize by increasing their volume to 20 or even 30 sets per week, while reducing stronger groups to maintenance. Reassess every 2 to 3 months. Science shows muscles adapt best when training is cycled, not static. Follow this consistently, and you'll begin to see changes that look like you've hacked your genetics. But we still need to talk about the elephant in the room: your natural limit. How much muscle can you realistically build in a lifetime? Using decades of data, scientists like Dr. Eric Trexler estimate that the average male can gain around 8 to 10 pounds of muscle in the first year of proper training, around 5 in the second year, and smaller amounts each year after. By the time you're advanced, even 2 pounds of new muscle in a year is a major win. Does that sound discouraging? It shouldn't, because here's the perspective shift. Most people never even get close to their natural limit. Poor programming, poor nutrition, poor consistency. Those are the real barriers, not DNA. Think of it this way. Genetics are the foundation of your house, but how tall and strong the house becomes depends on how you build it. Most people stop construction halfway and blame their blueprints. The truth is, they never picked up the hammer. So what does this mean for you? It means that before you ever blame genetics, you owe it to yourself to max out the controllable variables. Train with intent, recover like an athlete, fuel your body, and give it time. Because the science is crystal clear. Your DNA decides where you start and where you finish. But the journey in between is entirely in your hands. And if you're ready to take that journey seriously, don't just watch passively. Hit subscribe, leave a like, and check the link in the description for a step-by-step plan based on these exact scientific principles. Because the only way to find out your real potential is to push until you reach it.